I knew I wanted to be a musician. As you live your life, it appears to be an event that's out of control.
On the dark desert highway.
Just the attitude is the whole thing. Being part of something much bigger than me. I was painting myself in the corner, and I had lost my perspective.
Well, I was very fond, shall we say, of cocaine and vodka and smoking Camel Lights.
And I thought there was a lot more to being a musician.
A lone guitar chord rings out in the darkness, vibrating through the floorboards of a sold-out arena. For over 5 decades, Joe Walsh remains a towering figure in rock music, a guitarist of extraordinary skill, a songwriter with a razor-sharp wit, and a man whose life is a relentless, high-velocity roller coaster. He is the irreverent spirit of the Eagles, the wild-card virtuoso, but his story stretches far beyond the confines of any single band. Equal parts jokester and sage, Walsh's journey from small-town beginnings to international fame is a tale of raw talent, internal turmoil, and a personal collapse that nearly ends it all. He is the man who makes the guitar talk, the man who runs for president on a whim, and the man who survived the most decadent era in music history.
I announced my candidacy for president of the United States.
Yet, beneath the layers of distortion and the famous grin, lies a soul forged in early tragedy. Before the stadiums, before the private jets, and before the legendary hotel room destructions, there is a young boy in the American Midwest dealing with a loss that redefines his world. How does a child of the Kansas plains find his voice when his father is suddenly taken from him?
Toto? I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And what role does a simple wooden instrument play in his survival? Joseph Fiddler Walsh enters the world on the 20th of November, 1947, in Wichita, Kansas. His early childhood is shattered when his father, a military flight instructor, perishes in a plane crash. Joe is just a toddler, left in a world that suddenly feels silent and uncertain.
My father died in active duty when I was about 20 months old. He was a flight instructor. But I grew up always wondering what he would have been like.
His mother, a classically trained pianist, eventually remarries, and Joe takes the surname Walsh from his stepfather. Movement defines his youth. The family drifts from Ohio to New York City and finally to the suburbs of New Jersey. In every new town, Joe is the outsider, an energetic boy with a streak of mischief and a mind that moves faster than those around him. At age 10, the trajectory of his life shifts forever. He receives his first guitar, an instant, consuming infatuation. While other boys play in the streets, Joe is in his bedroom, painstakingly teaching himself the chords to walk, don't run. He finds in those 6 strings a language that words cannot provide. By high school, he is the kid always carrying a guitar case, a silent badge of his obsession. By night, he picks out Chuck Berry licks until his fingers bleed. By day, he plays the oboe in the school band, a contrast that highlights his musical depth. He is a shy boy who finds that a loud amplifier gives him the courage to be seen. The timing is perfect. He watches the British invasion on television, seeing the Beatles and the Stones ignite a cultural revolution. He makes a choice. He wants that life. He enrolls at Kent State University, ostensibly to study English, but the pull of the local bar scene is too strong. He joins a group called the Measles, playing in coffee shops and bars for pocket money. Then, on a warm May afternoon, history intervenes with brutal force.
And I went to Kent State, where they had the shootings, and yes, I was there. But Kent was a great place.
The Kent State Massacre leaves 4 students dead at the hands of the National Guard. Joe is there on campus, witnessing the horror firsthand. Watching the smoke and the chaos, he realizes that life is far too fragile to spend in a lecture hall. He drops out within a term, choosing to live entirely by the guitar. But can a kid from the Ohio bar scene really compete with the titans of rock and roll? Or will he be just another forgotten musician in the Midwest? In the late 60s, Cleveland is a gritty, high-energy rock hub. Joe Walsh is looking for a breakthrough, and he finds it when he knocks on the door of drummer Jim Fox.
And so I joined this band, and there was this dynamic going on in the band where they had been together for a year and a half, and they didn't really get along. And so I was in this 5-piece band, and we drove to Detroit to play a show. And between when we left Cleveland and when we got to Detroit, 2 people quit.
Needing the money for gas just to get home, the James Gang takes the stage as a trio. Joe is forced to carry rhythm, lead, and vocals simultaneously. It proves a revelation. The power trio is born. As the decade turns, they have a record deal. Joe pens Funk number 49. A song built on a riff so infectious and a groove so tight that it becomes a permanent staple of FM radio. Audiences are mesmerized by his ability to switch from a bone-crushing rhythm to a delicate melody. Soon, the James Gang is playing the most prestigious stages in the world. When they open for The Who in Cleveland, Pete Townsend is stunned. He doesn't just like Joe, he becomes a lifelong disciple of Joe's tone, declaring the young guitarist a genius.
Pete Townsend just happened to come early that night and heard 20 minutes of it, and we became really good friends. He taught me how to play guitar in a 3-piece band. You have drums and bass.
For a young man from Kansas, this is total validation. He is standing on the world stage, trading licks with his heroes. However, the pressure of being the sole melodic force in a trio begins to grate.
But I was starting to write more textures and stuff, and I couldn't do any of that in a 3-piece band.
Joe is writing songs like Walk Away and Midnight Man, pushing the boundaries of what 3 people can achieve. He experiments with unusual tuning and recording techniques, always searching for a sound that doesn't exist yet. Despite the fame and the accolades, Joe feels the walls closing in. He is terrified of becoming stagnant, a local hero stuck in a loop. At the very peak of the band's popularity, Joe makes a decision that shocks the industry. He walks away from the James Gang at their absolute zenith.
So I left the James Gang and went out into the great unknown, and again, I had no idea what to do or what I was doing. I moved to Colorado.
He packs his bags and heads for the mountains of Colorado, seeking a new sound in the thin air. Will the isolation of the Rockies help him create a masterpiece? Or has he just walked away from his only chance at the big time? In the early 70s, Joe Walsh is a man alone in the wilderness. He settles in a mining village outside Boulder, Colorado, and assembles a new group he calls Barnstorm. He wants a sound as vast as the landscape. They record in a picturesque studio near Nederland, which later becomes the iconic Caribou Ranch, blending hard rock with country, blues, and experimental synthesizers. The music is more introspective, more complex.
Coming down, coming around to see it all astounds me.
Walsh is no longer just a guitar hero. He is becoming a producer and a sonic architect. He runs his guitar through Leslie organ speakers and layers tracks to find the perfect balance between acoustic warmth and electric fire. The breakthrough arrives with the album The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get. Gazing at the snow-capped peaks from his backyard, Joe writes Rocky Mountain Way. It is a celebration of his newfound freedom. To give the song its signature edge, he introduces the talk box. The result is a gurgling, growling solo that sounds like a machine coming to life. The song rockets up the charts, and Joe Walsh is officially a solo superstar. He is the master of his own destiny, and for a moment, the world feels limitless. But just as the professional highs reach a peak, life deals its most cruel blow. Joe's 3-year-old daughter, Emma, is killed in a car accident. The world stops. Joe is shattered, spiraling into a deep grief. He pours his broken heart into the song for Emma. He is a man adrift, drowning his sorrow in a lifestyle that is becoming increasingly dangerous. He spends his days in a mountain fog, wondering if he will ever find a reason to pick up a guitar again. It is at this lowest ebb that a phone call comes from Los Angeles. The Eagles are the biggest band in America, but they are losing their edge. They need a spark. Can the class clown of rock, still reeling from the death of his child, fit into the most meticulously polished band in the world?
The chemistry that the Eagles have, and I love being in that band, being part of something much bigger than me.
Joe joins the Eagles mid-decade, replacing Bernie Leadon. The chemistry is immediate and volatile. During the recording of Hotel California, the tension in the studio is palpable, but the results are legendary.
When Hotel California came out, it affected the entire planet. It affected people beyond our wildest imagination.
Joe pushes the band to play louder and meaner. The title track's final guitar duel between Walsh and Don Felder is a masterclass in phrasing and emotion. Joe isn't just a hired gun, he is a primary songwriter. He brings a riff to a sound check, a fast, driving, funky lick. Glenn Frey hears it and shouts, "That's life in the fast lane." It becomes a biting commentary on the very lifestyle the band is currently leading.
And it's this.
The bend, just the bends are perfect, you know.
I was just playing, warming up for the show, and Glenn comes busting in my dressing room and says, "What the hell's that?"
I love it, yes.
And I said, "I don't know, it's just this lick I warm up with." He said, "That's an Eagle song, dude."
Offstage, Joe becomes the band's release valve. He is the prankster famously using a chainsaw to remodel hotel furniture. He once decides at 4 a.m. that a bed frame is incorrect and dismantles it piece by piece.
I just called it a little remodeling. Costly, but entertaining, yes.
Is it true you used to carry the chainsaw around? Is that a true story?
Yes. Sometimes we would have issues with hotels.
On another night, he throws a lamp out a window because it offended him. Glenn Frey and Don Henley initially welcome the chaos, but as the months turn into years, the exhaustion begins to show. But the pranks mask a growing dependency. By the time he releases Life's Been Good, a satire of rock star wealth, the satire is his reality. He is drinking to stay numb and using drugs to stay awake. The Eagles are selling millions of records, but internal friction is tearing them apart. Resentment simmers until a political fundraiser late in the decade where threats are exchanged under the music on stage. Glenn Frey and Don Felder trade insults throughout the set, and the tension reaches a breaking point. The band implodes shortly after, and the vacation begins. Joe is left without the structure of the band. He drifts into the 80s, releasing solo work that flashes with his trademark wit, but struggles to find the earlier consistency. Without the Eagles to steady him, how far into the darkness will Joe Walsh fall? The 80s are a decade of turbulence. Joe is a man in constant motion but going nowhere. He goes through multiple marriages and drifts through the music scene, releasing solo albums that often feel like a cry for help. He is still the lovable madcap to the public, running for president as a prank and promising free gas for everyone. He enters a passionate relationship with Stevie Nicks, but he eventually breaks it off, fearing they will both perish if they don't escape the haze.
She says you are the love of her life.
She's like a soulmate. All I'm saying is that we were seeking refuge, kind of, in each other's presence. No, I don't think either of us could have committed to a lasting relationship in this in the state that we were in.
The bottom finally arrives years later. Joe wakes up on a plane descending into Paris with no idea how he got there. He has no luggage, just his passport. He has blacked out for an entire transatlantic journey. He realizes he can no longer trust his own mind. He describes this period as watching himself disappear. He finally seeks help, embracing sobriety as the 90s begin. Just as he begins to find his footing, the call comes. The Eagles are getting back together, but there is a catch.
Well, I was very fond, shall we say, of cocaine and vodka and smoking Camel Lights. And my feeling was, well, that's a real good reason to get sober. And I didn't really have one before that.
The band leaders, Henley and Glenn Frey, demand he stay clean. Can he maintain his recovery under the immense pressure of the biggest reunion in rock history? The impossible happens. The Eagles reunite for the Hell Freezes Over tour.
And you don't have to be afraid. Don't even try to understand. Just find
And we've had an incredible second act that's actually been going on longer than the first act.
A sober, sharp Joe Walsh takes the stage. Gone are the bloodshot eyes, replaced by a clear-headed grin. He is playing better than ever, his solos on Hotel California sounding more powerful than they did in the 70s. He realizes he has been given a second chance.
And I had lost my perspective, and I got sober in 1994, and it was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
He is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and repairs his life, building a lasting bond with his daughter Lucy. He finds stability with his wife Marjorie Back and becomes brothers-in-law with Ringo Starr. He uses his platform for good, founding VetSaid to support veterans, and becomes a beacon for others struggling with addiction. He survives the passing of Glenn Frey and continues to carry the Eagles' torch, often acting as the musical director for their live performances. From a grieving toddler in Kansas to the elder statesman of the electric guitar, Joe Walsh has lived 10 lifetimes. He once wrote that life's been good to him so far. Now, as he stands under the spotlight, a survivor of the greatest excesses of his age, he finally understands the true cost of that good life. He hits one final, perfect note, a sound that echoes with everything he has lost and everything he has found. While Joe found his way back to the fold, many others were left in the slipstream of the Eagles' turbulent history. To understand the full story of the egos, the exits, and the empty seats left behind, watch our video, Every Time a Member of the Eagles Left the Band.